I never thought being trapped in an elevator with my boss would end with her sliding her hand into mine in the darkness, her voice barely a whisper. If we're going to die in here, there's something I need to tell you, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. My name is Ryan. I'm 28 years old, and I work as a junior marketing analyst at Sterling and Associates, a mid-sized consulting firm that takes itself way too seriously. 6 months ago, my fiancée left me 3 weeks before our wedding. She said I was emotionally unavailable and married to my job instead of her. Maybe she was right. My parents still ask when I'm going to settle down, as if being left at the altar doesn't count as trying. I threw myself into work after that, stayed late, volunteered for extra projects, did anything to avoid going home to my empty apartment. That's how I ended up on Miss Catherine Morgan's radar. Catherine, though no one dared call her that to her face, was the VP of Strategic Development. 44 years old, brilliant, intimidating as hell, and absolutely untouchable. She had this presence that made boardrooms go quiet when she walked in. Sharp cheekbones, dark hair always pulled back in a perfect bun, gray eyes that could dissect a bad presentation in seconds. She wore tailored suits that probably cost more than my monthly rent and carried herself like someone who'd fought for every inch of respect she had. I'd been terrified of her since my first day. Then I made the mistake of staying late one Thursday to finish a report. She walked past my cubicle at 9 p.m., stopped, and actually looked at what I was working on. The Henderson pitch? Her voice was lower than I expected, with this slight rasp that did something strange to my spine. Yes, ma'am. Just refining the market analysis. It's good work. Send it to me when you're done. She paused. And Ryan? It's Miss Morgan. Not ma'am. I'm not that old yet. There was the slightest hint of amusement in her eyes before she walked away, leaving me staring after her like an idiot. After that, she started noticing me. Not in an obvious way, but I'd catch her watching during presentations. She'd ask my opinion in meetings, actually listen to my answers. She'd forward me articles with notes like, "Thought you'd find this relevant." My colleagues started making comments. "Wonder what he's doing to get that kind of attention," another joked. I ignored them, but I couldn't ignore the way my heart rate picked up whenever she entered a room. The way I found myself staying late on nights I knew she'd still be there. The way I'd memorized the sound of her heels clicking down the hallway. This is your boss, I'd remind myself. This is inappropriate. This is career suicide. But I couldn't stop noticing things. The way she tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear when she was thinking. The elegant silver watch she always wore. The subtle scent of her perfume, something expensive and complex, like bergamot and cedar. The fact that she never mentioned a personal life, never wore a wedding ring, seemed to work even more hours than I did. It happened on a Tuesday. We'd both stayed late working on the quarterly board presentation. At 10 p.m., she stopped by my desk. I'm heading out. Good work today on the Simmons analysis. Thank you, Miss Morgan. Catherine, she said suddenly. When it's just us, you can call me Catherine. The formality gets exhausting after hours. I must have looked shocked because she smiled, actually smiled, and it transformed her whole face. Made her look younger, more approachable, devastating. See you tomorrow, Ryan. I packed up 20 minutes later and caught the elevator down from the 15th floor. The doors were closing when I heard heels clicking rapidly. Hold that! Catherine's hand shot through the gap and the doors reopened. She stepped in, slightly breathless, her perfect bun coming loose at the edges. She'd taken off her suit jacket, and in just her silk blouse I could see the curve of her shoulders, the elegant line of her collarbone. Stop it, I told myself. Stop looking. She pressed the button for the ground floor. The elevator lurched downward. We stood in companionable silence for a moment. Then, between the 8th and 7th floors, the elevator jerked violently and stopped. The lights flickered, dimmed, then switched to emergency backup, a pale, eerie glow that turned everything shadows and angles. What Catherine started, an automated voice crackled through the speaker. Emergency stop activated. Please remain calm. Emergency services have been notified. She immediately pulled out her phone. No signal. She tried the emergency call button, got a busy signal, tried again. Nothing. Of course, she muttered. Building-wide power issue, probably. Means the backup systems are overloaded. She looked at me. Your phone? I checked. 1 bar. Flickering. Barely. Should I try? Send a text to building security. It'll use less power than a call. I did. The message failed to send. Tried again. Failed. Not going through. We'll wait for them to get the alert from the elevator system then. She glanced at her phone. I have 3% battery. You? 15. Better conserve it. Who knows how long we'll be here. She slid down the elevator wall to sit on the floor, her skirt riding up slightly to show elegant knees. She caught me looking and raised an eyebrow. I quickly sat against the opposite wall, feeling my face heat. Sorry. I didn't mean relax, Ryan. We're stuck in an elevator together. No need to be more uncomfortable than necessary. But I was uncomfortable. Not because of the confined space, because I was suddenly, acutely aware that I was alone with Catherine Morgan. Really alone? Maybe for the first time ever. In dim lighting that softened her sharp edges. With nowhere to go and nothing to do but, what? Talk? The silence stretched. She checked her phone again. Still, no signal. And my battery just died. She set it aside with a sigh. I don't suppose you have a charger? In my desk. Sorry. Of course it is. She leaned her head back against the wall, closed her eyes. In the dim light, I could see the exhaustion written across her face, the slight shadows under her eyes, the tension in her jaw that suggested she carried far more stress than she showed. Long day? I ventured. Long year, she corrected without opening her eyes. But yes, the board's been demanding lately. They want growth without investment, results without resources, the usual corporate impossibility. You handle it well. Do I? Now, she opened her eyes, looked at me directly. Or do I just hide the cracks well enough that no one notices? It was the most unguarded thing I'd ever heard her say. I notice, I said before I could stop myself. Her expression shifted. Do you? You get this line? I touched my own forehead, between my eyebrows. Right here, when you're dealing with something frustrating but have to stay professional, and you click your pen 3 times before making a difficult decision, and you always stay latest on Thursdays because that's when the international markets reports come in and you don't trust anyone else to analyze them properly. She was staring at me now, something unreadable in her eyes. You're observant. I pay attention. The air between us felt charged suddenly. Heavy. To what? She asked, and her voice had dropped lower. To you? I didn't say. To everything about you. To the way you command a room, to how you're brilliant and terrifying and somehow sad underneath all that armor, to how I think about you far more than I should. To patterns, I said instead. It's the analyst in me. She smiled slightly. Liar. My heart stopped. What? You're a terrible liar, Ryan. Your left eye twitches when you're not telling the full truth. She paused. It's been doing that a lot around me lately. Oh God. Did she know? Had I been that obvious? I'm not. Relax. She held up a hand. I'm not going to report you to HR for paying attention to your boss, though I probably should, for your own good. My own good? Getting involved with your superior is a career-limiting move. Everyone knows that, especially when there's a 16-year age gap that would have everyone whispering about midlife crises and inappropriate power dynamics. She said it so matter-of-factly, like she'd thought about this. About us. About the impossibility of us. I wouldn't, I stopped. Started again. You're my boss. I respect you, that's all. The eye twitch gave me away again. She laughed, soft and low. There it goes, like clockwork. She shifted, pulled her knees up, wrapped her arms around them. It made her look younger somehow, less corporate VP, more human. Can I tell you something, Ryan? Something that doesn't leave this elevator? My mouth was dry. Of course. I'm tired. She said it simply. But there was weight behind the words. Tired of being the hard-ass boss. Tired of having no life outside these walls. Tired of going home to an empty apartment and wondering if I traded too much for this career. Tired of being 44 and alone and pretending that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't know what to say. This vulnerable, honest Catherine was someone I'd never seen before. I'm sorry, I managed. Don't be. These were my choices. I knew what I was doing when I prioritized work over everything else. When I divorced my husband because I couldn't be the wife he wanted. When I decided that power and respect mattered more than... She trailed off. Then what? Than being wanted for something other than my brain. She looked at me directly now. than having someone look at me the way you do when you think I don't notice. The elevator seemed to shrink. The air felt thick. My heart was hammering so hard, I was sure she could hear it. I don't. Please don't insult me by denying it now. Her voice was gentle but firm. We're stuck in an elevator. My phone is dead, and we might be here for hours. Can we at least be honest with each other? Okay, I breathed. Honest. You first. What did I have to lose? We were trapped. Maybe she'd fire me, but she'd have to get us out of here first. I think about you constantly, I admitted, the words tumbling out. I stay late hoping to see you. I volunteer for projects just to present to you. I notice everything about you because I can't help it. You're brilliant and intimidating and beautiful, and I know it's completely inappropriate and career suicide, and I'm 16 years younger, but I stopped, breathless. She was staring at me, her expression unreadable. You what? I can't stop, I finished quietly. Even though I should. Even though it's wrong. I can't stop wanting your attention. Your approval. I cut myself off before I could say something truly reckless. The silence stretched. Then, I promoted you last month, she said suddenly. What? To senior analyst. I signed the paperwork Friday. You'll get the official notification Monday. I blinked, trying to process the subject change. I thank you. I didn't know. You earned it. Your work is excellent. She paused. But that's not why I'm telling you. I'm telling you because it means you won't report directly to me anymore. You'll be on Sarah's team. I don't understand. It means the power dynamic changes. Still inappropriate, still complicated, but less of a fireable offense. She was looking at me intently now. I'm telling you this because I need you to understand something. I didn't make that decision lightly. I've been fighting with myself for months about whether I was promoting you because you deserved it or because I wanted to eliminate the ethical barriers between us. My breath caught. And? Both, she admitted. You absolutely deserve it. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have ulterior motives. She shifted closer. Just slightly. I think about you too, Ryan. More than I should. More than is wise for someone in my position. Catherine, do you know how hard it is? Her voice was raw now. Vulnerable. To maintain this professional distance when you stay late and your desk lamp makes your eyes look gold? When you get excited explaining market trends and you forget to be nervous around me? When you look at me like I'm not just the Ice Queen VP but actually a woman worth seeing? You are, I said fiercely. You're not just worth seeing. You're… What? What could I say that wasn't crossing every line we had left? She was so close now. Close enough that I could smell her perfume, that bergamot and cedar that I'd memorized, close enough to see the pulse beating in her throat, close enough that if I just leaned forward we can't. She whispered, but her eyes were on my lips. I know. This is exactly what I shouldn't do. I know. I'm your boss. For at least 3 more days until the promotion is official? I know. People will talk. They'll say I took advantage, that you're having some crisis, that I'm pathetic for going after someone younger. I don't care. You should. It could hurt your career. Catherine. I reached out slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, and brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear. My fingers grazed her cheek. She inhaled sharply, her eyes fluttering closed for just a moment. When she opened them again, they were dark with want. If we do this, if we cross this line, there's no going back, she whispered. I don't want to go back. We were inches apart now. Her breath was warm against my face. I could see every detail, the gold flecks in her gray eyes, the way her lips parted slightly, the rapid pulse in her throat. I started to lean in. She didn't pull away. Our faces moved closer, so close I could almost taste her. The elevator lurched violently. A grinding mechanical sound filled the space. Catherine gasped and jerked back just as the lights flickered brighter. The automated voice crackled. Power restored. Resuming normal operation. The elevator began moving again, smoothly now, descending toward the lobby. Catherine scrambled to her feet, putting distance between us, smoothing her skirt and fixing her hair with shaking hands. I stood more slowly, my heart still pounding, my lips still tingling with the ghost of a kiss that never happened. Yeah, I agreed, though I wasn't sure what we were agreeing on. The doors opened to reveal 2 maintenance workers and a security guard waiting in the lobby. You folks okay? The guard asked. Power surge knocked out half the building's systems. Fine, Catherine said, her professional mask sliding back into place so seamlessly it was like the last hour hadn't happened. Thank you for responding so quickly. I assume you'll be reviewing safety protocols? Yes, ma'am. Sorry for the inconvenience. We walked out into the lobby. The cool night air hit us as we exited the building. We stood there awkwardly, not quite looking at each other. Well, Catherine said finally, that was eventful. Yeah, Ryan. She stopped. Started again. What I said in there, about thinking about you, I meant it, but we need to be smart about this. I know. Your promotion becomes official Monday. After that, she trailed off. After that? After that, maybe we can talk about this? Really talk. When we're not trapped in an elevator and thinking we might die? She smiled slightly. When we can think clearly? Can you think clearly around me? The question came out before I could stop it. She looked at me for a long moment. No, she admitted quietly. Not anymore. Then she turned and walked to her car, leaving me standing there in the parking lot, replaying every moment, every word, every almost kiss. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about the way she'd looked at me, the way she'd leaned in, the way we'd been seconds away from crossing a line we could never uncross, and the way that elevator had interrupted us at the exact wrong or maybe the exact right moment. The next 3 days were torture. Pure, exquisite torture. Monday morning, I got the official promotion email. Congratulations, effective immediately, blah, blah, blah. I was now on Sarah's team. Catherine was no longer my direct supervisor. The ethical barrier had shifted, if not entirely disappeared. I saw Catherine in the hallway that afternoon. We both stopped, stared at each other. Neither of us spoke for a long moment. Congratulations on the promotion, she said finally, her voice carefully neutral. Thank you. But we were both thinking about the elevator, about what almost happened, about what she'd said. Her eyes dropped to my lips for just a fraction of a second before she caught herself. I should go. Meeting in 5. She walked past me, close enough that I caught her scent, and I had to fight the urge to reach out and stop her. Tuesday, I had to drop off a report to her office. She wasn't there, but I left it on her desk. As I was leaving, she walked in. We nearly collided in the doorway. Sorry, I said, stepping back, but the doorway was narrow. She had to squeeze past me. Her shoulder brushed my chest. Her hip grazed mine. It lasted maybe 2 seconds, but I felt it like an electric shock. She felt it too. I saw her breath hitch, saw her pupils dilate. Excuse me, she murmured, but she didn't move immediately. We stood there, inches apart in the doorway, both of us frozen. Catherine, I said softly. Don't, she whispered. Don't say my name like that. Not here. Not where anyone could see. When then? I don't know. I just know it can't be here. She finally moved past me, but her hand trailed across my arm as she did. Deliberate, lingering. A promise. Wednesday, we had a company-wide meeting. I sat 3 rows behind her, spent the entire hour watching the elegant line of her neck, the way she took notes, the way she crossed and uncrossed her legs. She knew I was watching. Once, she glanced back over her shoulder, caught my eye, and the look she gave me was so loaded with meaning that I forgot to breathe. After the meeting, people were milling around, chatting. Catherine was talking to another VP near the windows. I was getting coffee when someone bumped into me from behind. Hot coffee sloshed onto my hand. Shit, I hissed, shaking it off. Catherine appeared at my side instantly. Are you okay? She grabbed my hand, examining the red mark forming on my skin. Her touch was gentle, professional, but her thumb traced small circles on my wrist that were anything but. It's fine, I managed. Just a little burn. Let me see. She held my hand up to the light, her fingers cool against my heated skin. We were standing close now. Too close for colleagues. Close enough that I could see the concern in her eyes mixing with something darker, more dangerous. You should run it under cold water, she said. But she didn't let go of my hand. Catherine, I know. But still, she held on for another heartbeat. 2. Then she released me and stepped back. Take care of that burn. Her voice was steady, but I saw the way her hands trembled slightly as she walked away. That evening, I was working late again. I heard her heels in the hallway, knew she was leaving, but instead of walking past my cubicle, she stopped. "Still here?" she asked. "Almost done with the Peterson analysis." "Ryan." She paused. "We need to talk." "Okay. Not here. Not at the office. Would you meet me for dinner? Tomorrow night?" My heart stopped. Dinner? Just dinner. To talk. About what happened in the elevator. About what's been happening since. She looked nervous, uncertain, in a way I'd never seen her. "If you don't want to, I understand. This is complicated, and probably a bad idea. And, yes," I interrupted. "Yes, I'll meet you for dinner." She smiled, and it was like the sun coming out. She chose a restaurant across town, small and intimate, the kind of place where we wouldn't run into colleagues. I got there first, nervous as hell, checking my tie 3 times in the bathroom mirror. When she walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. She'd left her hair actually down, falling in soft waves around her shoulders instead of the severe bun. She wore a dark blue dress that was professional but softer somehow. More her, less armor. "Hi," she said, sliding into the booth across from me. "Hi. You look beautiful." "Thank you." She smiled, but I could see the nervousness in her eyes. "I wasn't sure you'd actually come." "Why wouldn't I?" "Because this is crazy. I'm your former boss. I'm 16 years older. We work at the same company. There are about 1,000 reasons this is a terrible idea. And yet you asked me to dinner?" "And yet I asked you to dinner," she agreed. "Because what I said in that elevator was true. I can't stop thinking about you. And I'm tired of pretending I can." The waiter came, took our orders, left us alone. Catherine took a sip of her wine, then set it down and looked at me directly. "I need you to understand what you'd be getting into. If we try this, it won't be easy. People will gossip. Some will say I'm taking advantage of my position, that I'm having a midlife crisis, that you're using me to advance your career. It could affect both our reputations. I don't care what people think. You say that now. But when your friends make cougar jokes? When my ex-husband, and yes, I have one, and yes, he's the vindictive type, finds out and makes it his mission to tell everyone I'm desperate? When your parents meet me and realize I'm almost their age?" "Catherine." I reached across the table, took her hand. She looked down at our joined hands, her thumb tracing the burn mark from yesterday. "Are you worried about what other people will think? Or are you worried about what you think?" She was quiet for a long moment. "Both. Honestly, I spent my 20s and 30s building my career, building this reputation as someone serious and competent and untouchable, and now I'm contemplating throwing it all into question for what? For you," she said simply, "for the way you look at me like I'm not just a title, for the conversations we have that make me forget about work stress, for the possibility that maybe I don't have to be alone forever." "You don't," I said firmly. "Catherine, you're brilliant and beautiful, and yes, you're intimidating, but underneath that you're also funny and passionate, and you deserve to be happy. If people want to judge that, that's their problem. And the age thing? What about it? I'm 44. You're 28. In 10 years, I'll be 54. I'll be thinking about retirement when you're in your prime earning years." "I might." She stopped. "I might not age well. I might get sick. I definitely can't give you children." "I don't want children," I said. "Never have. My ex wanted them, and I went along with it because I thought I was supposed to. But honestly, I was relieved when she left because it meant I didn't have to pretend anymore." Catherine looked surprised. "Really?" "Really. And as for the rest, Catherine, I'm not dating you for some 20-year plan. I'm asking you to dinner because I like you. Because I want to know you. Because these last 3 days of almost touches and loaded glances have been driving me insane, and I just want to be able to actually talk to you without worrying about HR policies." She laughed, and the sound was beautiful. "They have been torture, haven't they? The worst. That moment in the doorway? I almost said to hell with it and kissed you right there. I would have let you," she admitted, "even though it would have been wildly inappropriate. And now? Now we're not at work. Now I'm not technically your boss anymore. Now it's just 2 people having dinner." She looked at me, her gray eyes serious. "What do you want, Ryan? Really? Honestly?" I took a breath. I want to take you on dates. Real dates, not business dinners. I want to hear about your day without the professional filter. I want to make you laugh like you just did. I want to figure out if this thing between us is real or just elevator adrenaline and proximity. And if it's real, then I want to deal with the complications together. I want to show up to office parties with you. I want to prove to everyone, including you, that this isn't just some crisis or fling, that you're worth all of it. Her eyes were shining. You can't just say things like that. Why not? Because it makes it very hard to maintain my professional distance. Good thing we're not at work then. She smiled, and this time it reached her eyes completely. Okay, okay, okay. Let's try this. Let's date. Let's see where this goes. But Ryan, she squeezed my hand. We do this carefully. Slowly. We don't make a big announcement at work. We see if this is real before we deal with all the complications. Slow, I agreed. But Catherine? Yeah? I'm going to want to kiss you at some point tonight. She laughed. At some point? Preferably sooner rather than later. Finish your dinner first, she said, but her eyes were dancing. And then we'll see. We talked through dinner about everything except work. She told me about her marriage, how it had ended 5 years ago when her husband wanted her to scale back her career to focus on starting a family, how she'd chosen herself instead, and hadn't regretted it, but also hadn't dated seriously since. I threw myself into work, she said, decided that was enough, that I didn't need anything else. And now I'm sitting across from a brilliant, kind, frustratingly attractive man who pays attention to how I click my pen, and I'm thinking maybe I was lying to myself about what I needed. For what it's worth, I said, I think you were right to choose yourself, but I also think you deserve both, the career and the relationship. You shouldn't have to pick. After dinner, we walked to the parking lot, stood by her car, neither of us wanting the night to end. So, she said. She stepped closer, close enough that I could smell her perfume. I think I want that too. Yeah? My heart was racing. Yeah. She reached up, touched my face gently. But I need you to know, once we do this, once we cross this line, there's no going back. Are you sure? Instead of answering, I leaned down and kissed her. Finally, actually kissed her. No elevator interruptions, no maintenance workers. Just us, in a parking lot under the stars, kissing like we'd been wanting to for months. She tasted like wine and dessert and possibility. Her hand slid into my hair, and she made this small sound against my mouth that made my knees weak. When we finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, she rested her forehead against mine. Wow, she breathed. Yeah, I agreed. That was worth waiting for. Definitely. She smiled. So this is happening. This is happening. We're doing this thing. Dating. Complications and all. Complications and all, I confirmed. She kissed me again, softer this time. Sweet. Then pulled back with visible reluctance. I should go. We both have work tomorrow. When can I see you again? Eager, aren't we? You have no idea. She laughed. This weekend? If we're doing this, let's do it right. Actual dates. Getting to know each other outside of work. I'd like that. Me too. She got in her car, but before closing the door, she looked up at me. Ryan? Yeah? Thank you. For seeing me. For not giving up when I was being difficult. For making me believe this is possible. It is possible. We'll make it possible. She drove away, and I stood there in the parking lot, grinning like an idiot, replaying that kiss over and over. We dated in secret for the next month. Dinners at restaurants across town. Weekend hikes where no colleagues would see us. Late-night phone calls that stretched for hours. Coffee dates at 6 a.m. before work, where we could steal 30 minutes together. It was like being teenagers, sneaking around, stealing moments. But it was also building something real. I learned that Catherine loved terrible reality TV but would never admit it at work. That she had a dry, sarcastic sense of humor that came out when she relaxed. That she was terrible at cooking but excellent at ordering takeout. She learned that I was obsessive about organizing my desk but couldn't fold laundry to save my life. That I had a secret love of trashy mystery novels. That I was surprisingly good at listening. at being patient, at making her feel heard. "You're very different than I expected," she said, one Saturday morning in her kitchen. "Different how? I thought you'd be, I don't know, more cocky maybe? More aware of how attractive you are. But you're just genuine. Is that a good thing?" "It's everything." She kissed me over coffee mugs. "It's why this is working." But we both knew we couldn't hide forever. The gossip started slowly. People noticing that we showed up to work at the same time sometimes. That we both happened to work late on the same nights. That Catherine seemed happier. Softer somehow. "What's going on with you and the VP?" Derek asked me one day. "Nothing," I wanted to say, but the eye twitch gave me away. "We're friends," I said carefully. "Friends." He didn't look convinced. "Dude, be careful. Office romances are messy. Office romances with your former boss are career suicide. I know what I'm doing. Do you?" He lowered his voice. "People are starting to talk. And not kindly. If this is what I think it is, you need to either stop or make it official before rumors get ugly." He was right. That night, I told Catherine what Derek had said. "He's right," she said quietly. We were at her apartment, curled up on her couch. "We can't hide forever." And honestly, she took a breath. "I don't want to hide anymore. I'm tired of acting like this isn't important to me. So what do? We tell people. On our terms. Before the gossip gets out of control." She looked nervous. "But Ryan, once we do this, everything changes. People will judge. Some of my colleagues will lose respect for me. Your friends will make jokes. Are you ready for that?" "Are you?" "I asked you first." "Okay. Honestly, I'm terrified. But I'm also tired of pretending you're just my former boss. I want to show up places with you. I want to hold your hand in public. I want people to know that I'm with someone amazing." She kissed me, deep and searching. "Okay, let's do it. Company holiday party is in 2 weeks. Let's go together. Officially. You're sure?" "No," she admitted. "I'm terrified. But I'm doing it anyway." The next 2 weeks were a countdown. Catherine was increasingly nervous, second-guessing the decision. I tried to reassure her, but I was nervous too. When the night finally came, I picked her up at her place. She looked stunning in a red dress that was professional but showed just enough to make my mouth go dry. "Too much?" she asked, suddenly uncertain. "Perfect. You're perfect." We drove to the hotel, and I could feel her tension increasing as we got closer. "We can still show up separately," I offered. "Make it look casual." "No." She took a deep breath. "No. If we're doing this, we're doing it right. Together." We walked in holding hands. The reaction was immediate. Heads turned. Conversation stopped. Whispers started. Catherine held her head high, but I felt her hand tighten in mine. Some people were supportive. Sarah gave us an approving smile. Some were openly shocked. Frank from accounting actually walked away when he saw us. The real test came an hour in. Catherine's ex-husband, Mark, showed up. Apparently he'd been invited as a vendor partner. He made a beeline for us, whiskey in hand, that fake smile plastered on his face. The young protege turned boyfriend. "How modern of you." "Mark," Catherine said coolly. "What do you want?" "Just saying hello, making sure you're not making a fool of yourself. Again." His eyes raked over me dismissively. "He's what, 12? 28? I corrected. "And she's not making a fool of herself. You did that yourself when you left her." His face darkened. "Excuse me? You heard me. You spent 15 years trying to make her into someone she wasn't. Someone small and quiet who'd put your career first. And when she wouldn't shrink herself for you, you left. That's not her being a fool. That's you being too insecure to handle a woman who's more successful than you." "Ryan," Catherine warned quietly, but there was something like pride in her voice. "You don't know what you're talking about," Mark said. "I know exactly what I'm talking about. She's told me everything. How you made her feel like her ambition was a character flaw. How you left her for someone less career-focused and then acted like she was the problem. And now you're here, trying to make her feel bad for being happy because you can't stand that she's doing better without you." Mark's face was red now. This is going to crash and burn. He'll realize he wants someone his own age, someone who can give him a future. And you'll be alone again. That's what always happens with you, Kath. You're fundamentally unlovable. That's enough, I said, my voice hard. You need to leave. Now. Or what? Or I'll make sure everyone here knows exactly why your marriage ended, including the part about the affair you had that you swore her to secrecy about. Mark paled. You wouldn't. Try me. He looked between us, then turned and left without another word. When he was gone, Catherine was trembling. Not from fear, from fury. You didn't have to do that, she said. Yes, I did. I turned her to face me. He doesn't get to talk to you like that. No one does. And Catherine, I lowered my voice. You're not unlovable. You're not too much or too ambitious or any of the bullshit he tried to make you believe. You're extraordinary, and I'm not going anywhere. Her eyes were shining. Ryan, I love you, I said. Right there, in the middle of the party, with everyone watching. I love you, not despite the age gap or the complications. I love you because you're brilliant and strong, and you challenge me, and you make me better, and I need you to know that. She kissed me. Right there, in front of everyone. Didn't care who was watching. When we pulled apart, the room had erupted, some cheering, some clearly disapproving, everyone talking. I love you too, she whispered. I've been afraid to say it, but I do. I love you, Ryan. 6 months later, we moved in together. Her place, it was bigger, and I loved being surrounded by her things. A year after that, I proposed. Nothing fancy, just us, on her couch, in the middle of a terrible reality show. She said yes. We got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. My parents were there, supportive now. Her sister flew in. Mark was notably absent. The gossip at work had mostly died down. Some people still whispered, but most had moved on to other drama. We'd proven we were serious. That this wasn't a fling or a crisis. Just two people who'd found each other at exactly the right time. You know what I'm grateful for? Catherine said one night, curled up against me on our couch. What? That elevator breaking down? If it hadn't, we might never have actually talked. Never been honest. We might have just kept circling each other forever, too scared to take the risk. Best elevator malfunction ever. She laughed. Agreed, though I still wish it hadn't interrupted our first kiss. The second one made up for it. It really did. She kissed me again, soft and sweet. I love you, Ryan. I love you too. Sometimes the most beautiful mistakes are the ones we never regret. Sometimes being stuck changes everything. Sometimes the elevator breaks down at exactly the right moment, forcing you to be honest about what you've been hiding. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, that person looks at you in the emergency lighting and decides you're worth crossing every line for. That's what Catherine gave me. That's what we gave each other. So if people want to whisper about age gaps and power dynamics, let them. We'll be too busy being happy to care.